life as an actor?
I got into a play when I was 12 at Pasadena Playhouse, which was kind of a big deal back then. It's probably not known out here, but Gene Hackman came from there, Loretta Young, Dustin Hoffman. I got a little part in a 1954 production of Our Wilderness, and I had 3 lines. I wasn't paid, and it was only in the summertime, and so I was out of school. And from that play, I got an agent, a theatrical agent came to see it, and he gave me a card and told me to have my parents call him, and they did. And long story short, I signed with an agency, the Mitchell Goetz agency, they were very prestigious. They handled Laurel and Hardy, they handled people like Igor Stravinsky, and I started going on interviews, and I started getting into little parts in TV shows, and so for the next 2 years I worked a lot. I did a lot of TV. I did Gunsmoke and Man Behind the Badge and all the 50s series, and I was a working actor at 12, 13, 14. By the time I was 14, I was a veteran of 2 years. I'd done about 300 TV shows, plus I did about 4 more plays. And I was a member of the Screen Actors Guild, member of AFTRA, and that's when I got my contract at Disney's. So that
was when you were about 15. That was when you were a big break.
I was 14 actually.
14?
Yeah, 14 and a half.
And you were signed by Walt Disney
Walt
himself.
Disney. I went under 8-year contract.
Now, what was that like? Did he like give you any influence or like personally him?
Well,
signing
I was exclusive, which means I could only work for him, and if I had outside jobs, it was only with the studio's consent. And the way 7-year contracts work is every year it has to be renewed at their discretion. And they picked it up every year for 8 years.
Now, how did this, when you were in school, how did this, the acting affect your school life, your social life with your friends, like being an actor?
Well, I had a life away from the studio. We lived about 15 miles away. We lived in the San Fernando Valley. And I went to school on the studio lot. And there are laws, you have to go to school a minimum 3 hours a day, uninterrupted, or at least for 20-minute snatches. And it doesn't sound very good, but we had a very good teacher. And I went to school with the Mouseketeers, I remember that. And I had to graduate from high school, or I would lose my work permit. I had to maintain a certain grade average, or my teacher would say I would lose my work permit. And that was the law, and it still is.
Right.
And I graduated high school.
You think it's any different now, child acting, since back in the 50s?
I think it's probably basically the same. The calendar's changed, but circumstances haven't really changed that much. It's still the same thing. You have to go to school, and there's a work permit involved. And how did it affect my social life? You said the only thing you see is I had a normal life away from the studio.
Right.
I considered it a job, and I did it. And then when I went home, I basically forgot it. I had a life of my own, and had a horse and a car and a social life.
So it was like an ordinary child who would be, and more.
I don't know. I think I had a pretty normal upbringing. Nobody else in my family was in show business. My brother wanted to be an actor. That's how I got into play, but he gave it up and became a dentist. He's now a dentist in San Jose. And although he likes to perform in amateur productions just for the fun of it, because he loves to sing and everything. And my little brother Johnny worked on Shaggy Dog. I did 12 features for Disney. I did more than any other actor. I did, which I'm sort of proud of. I did the old Yeller, Shaggy Dog, Babes in Toyland, Swiss Family Robinson.
You did. I did a lot. I did a lot of research on you, and from what I saw, it did quite a lot. I did
12.
There's a lot of stuff, and the Shaggy Dog. What was that like?
It's very interesting. It was made originally as a little low-budget TV show. It was made for 2 one-hour TV shows, and somebody got the idea of splicing it together and said, "Well, why not release it as a feature?" And they did, and it was the top box office grossing film of 1959. It made more money than Ben-Hur. It made more money than, it was the top grossing film. It was a runaway freak hit. It just made so much money for the studio that it basically bailed them out of Disneyland. Disney Studios was broke from the expense of Disneyland, and Shaggy Dog put them back in the black, which is nice, I feel. But I don't take credit. The writing was very good. They had top people there.
Now, Old Yeller, I mean,
Old Yeller.
that's bigger than Lassie. I mean, I think it is.
Well, it's very nice
gotta be.
for me. It's my best memory because that's the one people remember. I go to autograph shows all around the country, and and they forget everything else, but they remember Old Yeller. You're the guy who shot the dog, and that's like, and Swiss Family Robinson, and that's what they remember, and that's fine with me. I say that's what the people, if that's their favorite, that's my favorite. That's my way I honestly feel.
So Old Yeller was your favorite of all of them?
Yeah, because it's the one people remember. It's the only that's the only thing I got to do that was sort of serious. Swiss Family Robinson, I feel very good about, because I think it's a physically beautiful picture. Again, I don't take credit. I think the towering genius behind everything was Walt Disney. I mean, he was this man's taste and his touch and his sensitivity to what audiences liked was so great that he was like the guiding spirit behind everything there. Although I think Michael Eisner is just as great an artist, in my personal opinion. He's just as great a producer.
Now, moving out of childhood, and you also did some films later when you were older.
Right.
Was that any different acting when you were doing like from childhood acting to adult acting?
Well, yeah, it was different, and
did they treat you differently, like on the set?
well, it was just all I can say. It was just a different kettle of fish, I did mainly. They were very popular. They're like dinosaurs now, but they were very popular in their day. These beach party movies, and beach blanket bingo and all this jazz. And I did about 3 of those things, and they were real silly, with a guy in a gorilla suit chasing us around a haunted house with teenagers. Just, a lot of nonsense, but they made an enormous amount of money. I did some of that stuff. And basically about 1975, I sort of said, well, I think I'm going to try something else. I got out of the business.
So where'd you go from there? Where'd you move on
I
to?
became a businessman and started my own business, an upholstery and carpet cleaning business, and I ran it, worked it. And I don't have any regrets. Like I don't have any bad feelings or anything toward Hollywood. It was nice at Disney. I liked that. My memories are good. I didn't study very much. Acting, I didn't really prepare, and I guess maybe it shows, but the only thing I was good at, that I could memorize dialogue. I had a photographic memory. I could memorize pages and pages and pages and pages of dialogue.
That's one of the toughest things to get.
And for me, that was nothing. It was very easy. And I mean, in Merlin Jones, I never shut up. I talk all the way through the movie, and that's what I was good at. I had a photographic memory. I don't know how good an actor I was, but I just tried to do the best I could. And they say Disney didn't want kids. Now this is a terrible thing. Here I'm in a young person's school where you're supposed to learn, be trained for the arts. And I'm going to tell you something. Disney says I don't want trained actors. I want them natural. And but that's not making. I think it's like apples and oranges. Whether he knew it or not, he hired a lot of actors that had been trained, and there are a lot of actors who could stand some training and would be better for it. I would have been a better actor had I had more training, I think. And because I did some movies that I think were real turkeys, real dogs. And
do you remember anybody, especially like a friend you might have had, like on one of the sets that he was like real close to you?
I was very close to Kevin Corcoran. We did like 7 movies together, and he was like my brother. We were like brothers. We were very close.
How about the crew members? Did you ever?
Well, it's like a family, There are people I cared for, and some I didn't care for, and I'm sure it worked the same way with them. But my only memory is that I used to try, when I was first starting, I used to try and get people to help me learn my lines, and my mother said, "Son, you've got to do it yourself. You've got to figure everything out for yourself, and nobody can tell you." And I finally figured out I was on my own. And my brothers didn't want to be actors, and they wouldn't go on interviews. I tried to help them get in the business. They wouldn't go on interviews. And I figured out just be quiet, do your job, and that's what I did. I did my job. I did exactly what I was told. I never made trouble. I never argued with anybody. If they told me to jump off head first into a bush, I did. I almost got killed a couple of times on Swiss Family Robinson. It was very rough.
What happened there? What was?
Well, we were in swamps up to here, and guck, and I got bug bit, and there were snakes, not poisonous, but there were snakes around.
Hate snakes.
And I was up here in guck wrestling an anaconda with James MacArthur with a 30-foot snake around me. And I said, this maybe is an easier way to make a living than this, It was hard work. I remember there was one year I did 5 movies. Son of Flubber, Absent Professor, Babes in Toyland, Swiss Family Robinson, and something else. 5 movies back to back the year I turned 17 and 18. And I was tired. I remember being so tired. Because I was still growing,
Right. So,
and you know how you need your sleep when you're 17?
Yes.
Well, you'll find out. But you're getting there. And I was tired. I remember I was very tired. And there were times I said, I'll be sort of glad when this is over. Because I made a lot of money, but and it's not everything.
So it's not like all glamour where people think, that being like a child star and a star is glamorous, and so it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of hard work, isn't it?
Well, Brandon, I felt I was very experienced, as I say, when I went there. And to me, I'd seen movie sets, and everything was fake, and people cussing, and a movie set is a kind of a rough place. Stale coffee, people smoking, quiet on the set. Hey, move that thing! You got to be, you got people, noise and confusion. Move that! Shut up down there! It's not a place for delicate people. A movie set is rough. Lights fall from the thing. People get hurt. Not to trip over the cables. It's kind of, and I said, this is a movie set. I know what they're like. They have fake trees. They spray with green paint to give the illusion, And I said, it's some movies. And Disney's was just another movie set, It was just like, you get sort of hardened, I was a veteran. I thought I was a veteran at 14. I'd made 300 TV shows, so I wasn't impressed by any of it. And the glamour side of it never meant anything to me. It was a job, and I was proud of the fact that I could remember lines better than anybody I knew. I had a photographic memory. That I was proud of. And I could do 20 takes in a row, and I was a good crier. I was a great crier as a kid. The Weeper, there used to be another kid actor called Peter Voltri, and they called the Weeper. But I was a better crier than he was, But these are all tricks. Child actors all have their tricks. But that's mainly the part of my career I enjoy. But when I got older,
it was different. Like when Walt Disney wasn't there anymore, did it change any when he wasn't there? After he died?
Everything has changed. The family no longer owns the studio. They sold it. It was bought by, I'm telling you the straight truth, it was bought by 2 billionaires in Texas called the Bass Brothers, own it. And they in turn, they don't know anything about running a studio. And so they said, well, who can? They said, well, who's the best man in the business? Who's the greatest brain in the business? A man named Michael Eisner had taken ABC television from last place to first place. He's the genius. And well, if he can do that with ABC, maybe he can run our empire. And this, they hired Eisner, and he said, name your salary, it's yours. And he said, not only that, but I want 100% artistic control of the entire studio, or I don't take it. And they said, well, that's outrageous. And he said, those are my terms. And they thought about it, and they said, okay.
So it's definitely changed. So
It's absolutely changed.
I've only been here like a really short percentage of my life. Walt Disney World. So I don't know what it was like before that.
Well,
But,
you still need
Disney
producers, you still need writers and special effects men and gaffers and makeup artists, and the roles haven't changed. One king is gone and there's a new king, but the kingdom still exists. Like I say, the family doesn't own it. The family sold it.
Right.
They were paid off royally, and with what they call golden parachutes. And I think Michael Eisner is the most brilliant producer in the business. He has made them about $100 billion. all his pictures are hits. He has a fantastic feel for public taste. He's a genius, I think.
I ever heard something. You were a screenwriter or a screenwriter.
I've fooled around with it. I've tried to write. I like to think of myself as an aspiring writer. I've never sold anything. I've written maybe half a dozen scripts. I've gotten some good critical comment, but nothing, you know, as my mother would say, nothing to write home about.
Did you ever look up to anybody like in the studios, like a writer, or aspire to be something more than an actor, like a screenwriter? Did you get that influence earlier on?
I don't know where that came from. I thought I was a good writer. In school, I liked composition, and I liked. I'm a kind of a bookworm. I like to read. I read all the time, and I read, and I thought I could write poetry, and I thought I had some talent in that area, but I still haven't sold a script.
You keep trying, you never know.
Yeah, that's right. I don't give up.
You have all this experience. I mean, you keep
I don't give up.
Right,
I'm trying to write something good, something that I would like to see. And for a while, I thought I'd like to try directing, but then I thought I don't have the patience. And you know, they say many are called, few are chosen. A lot of people start the race, but not everybody finishes it, you know. And even acting, to be able to have the stamina to have a lifetime in acting takes an awful lot of dedication. I think it's like an athlete. An athlete has to stay in condition. He can't eat this, he can't do that. To be an actor, you have to, you can't stay up all night, you can't party, you can't abuse yourself, you can't overeat, you can't do over anything. You know, it takes discipline. A lot of people can't do that. I think the same goes for writing. The same will go in any profession. You know, you need something of an athlete's discipline.
Do you think back then it was more? I know it's definitely changed today how things like different movies are produced and stuff. But do you think it was more for the show, like for the movie, or more for the audience than it is today?
I honestly think nothing has changed. The important things never change. There were talented people 50 years ago, and there were people who should have gone and sold insurance, who wanted to. They were wannabes then, and they, you know, I think there's a certain amount of talent is God-given. You don't know where it comes from. It can come. It's like genius. It can come from anywhere. The most unlikely person can be a genius. Right. Some people are born with it. Other people learn it. I basically think that talent will out. It did then, it does now. Determination and perseverance were what they are now. Truth is truth now, it was then. Good acting was good acting. I mean, I don't think the main things, the substantial things in life change. I don't think they ever will. 10,000 years from now, I think, you know, human nature doesn't change that much. That's my personal opinion. There are heroes and villains. There are all movies are morality plays, good and evil, right and wrong, yin and yang. You know, all the these things are eternal. I think that's my view of life and of the arts, and so I don't think. I think the calendar changes, but truth doesn't change. You know.
Right. So when you got into this, you got into it because of the audience, or because you like doing this?
I don't know, Brandon, I don't know why I got into it. I was. I thought of myself as a nobody from nowhere. I was just a poor little kid growing up in Downey, California. My family was just working class people. They had no theater background, and I just had nothing to do one summer, and I never sat down and said, I want to be an actor. But when I got in the play, I thought, well, I'm getting some attention, and it's kind of interesting, and then people said, you're good. You know, you're good in the play, and I kind of like that. And it wasn't anything more than that. I didn't have any great burning desire for fame and adulation of an audience and all this baloney. I didn't care anything about that. I'm basically a very shy person, and I didn't just want to be ego gratification. You know, it wasn't like that. I don't know why I got it, but the only thing I know is that people told me I was good, and that made me feel kind of good. This is something I can do. That's all it was. I can do it. I can act. I can remember lines. I can get up there and say lines. and a lot of kids can't. And I'm not afraid to cry and scream and make a fool of myself, or and get mad and get excited, show emotion. I'm not afraid. I'm not inhibited that way. I can do it. Well, it's something I can do. That's all it was. But if I said there was anything deeper than that, I'd be not saying the truth. I did it because I seem to have a little facility for it. Mm-hmm. And that's all I ever had.
So you had a lot of fun with it? You have no regrets about ever getting started?
I had a lot of fun sometimes. Other times it was not fun.
Like
I had
with
fights.
The swamp and the snakes. And...
I wasn't always an angel. I made some mistakes. Mm-hmm. I was young, and when people hurt me, I hurt back sometimes, and I got mad. I had arguments and fights. Just like in a family, I had arguments and fights with the director. I was fired off a couple of pictures for having a run-in with somebody. I got very homesick on Swiss Family Robinson, very lonely. I got sick of it, sick of the island. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see my mother. I wanted to see my brothers. I wasn't happy all the time. Sometimes I was very lonely, very unhappy. And I missed, I'll tell you what I missed most. I never got to go to a public school after the 8th grade. So I never got to go to a dance. I never got to go to I never went to a prom. I never went, I missed all public schooling.
You missed a little small chunk of your life
there. Yeah, I was very bitter about that for a number of years. I was mad about that. There's a big hole in my life. And I lost all my friends that I knew in Downey, This is the truth. But I've gotten over it. And I have friends now, and a lot of my schooling, I was the only student, because all the Mouseketeers were all fired in 1959. They're 58. They let them all go. And I was the only student.
Left to be...
I was the one student for about 2 years.
So it was like a private tutoring kind of situation.
Yeah. Me and Mrs. Seaman.
Did you learn any more private tutoring, like one-on-one kind of thing?
Yeah, she was a good teacher. She was very strict. She used to make me write a thing on the week, for the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all 5 subjects, and list all the things that were going to be done every day. And I had to, it was like a calendar of assigned activities, and it was hard. She made me work hard. It was good for me, but it was hard. But, I'm just trying to be honest and just share, give you some insight into what my life was like as a kid actor. I was never the glamour stuff. I hated the publicity. I wasn't practical. An actor should consider his public relations. You have to go out and do publicity things and be seen at the right spots. And I hated all that. I never did that. I got out of all photo sessions I could. I don't know. I broke some rules in some ways. I didn't take care of my career as well as I should have in some ways.
Okay, if any of the audience has any questions, you can ask them now. If you want to stand up.
Yes.
Have you, say, kept in touch with any of the Mouseketeers or Tim Considine?
Yeah, I just did the Disneyana convention in Florida in September, and Bobby and Sharon and Karen and Tim Considine, David Stahl, Spin and Marty, and Fess Parker, Davy Crockett, and I, and then one other Mouseketeer, one or two others, I can't think. Anyway, we had a reunion, and it was nice. We had all these diehard Disney fans, a great big convention, and it was enjoyable. I'm friends with some of the Mouseketeers. Some of them I don't know. I never really did get to know, and some have moved away and they live in who knows where. But I know some of them.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
What do you think of Cinekyd?
I think it's a good idea, and if a person will make use of it and get good out of it, then it's justified itself. If you're coming here just to pass the time, well, there's nothing wrong with that. You're going to get it. I think you'll get out of it what you put into it. And I think it's a good idea. I think knowledge is good, and a chance to practice your craft. And if you're really interested, it will stoke the fires of interest. There are some people who will come out of here fanatically in love with film, and they may be tomorrow's Steven Spielbergs. Steven Spielberg may be in this building right now, or a girl. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but you all know that. That's true. I know that's true. And so, of course, it's a good idea.
Any other questions? Okay, looks like it's it. Well, thank you very much. We have some.
Thank you.
We have some stuff for you. Cinekyd
Thank you,
T-shirt.
Brandon.
I'll go through it one by one. A plaque.
Oh, that's
Film
very
Legend Award.
nice.
Tommy Kirk.
Yeah, it's very nice. Thank you. I will
And-
keep this all my life. This will go on my wall, and I'll never forget it, and I'll never forget being here. And I wish all of you guys, all of you girls, and the school every good wish for the future. I hope your dreams come true, and fight for them, and go after them, and I hope it happens.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.